A white CEO walked into a conference room and refused to shake a black engineer's hand. "I don't shake hands with contractors," he said dismissively, waving him away like he was nobody. What that CEO didn't know, the man he just disrespected, was Marcus Webb, the majority shareholder who secretly owned 51% of the entire company. Marcus had been testing his executives to see how they treated people they thought had no power. In the next 30 minutes, that CEO went from running the company to getting escorted out by security. This is a true story about respect, humility, and why you should never judge people by the color of their skin or their position. What happened in that conference room will restore your faith in justice. Before we dive into this powerful story, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss more stories about karma and people getting exactly what they deserve. Drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Now let's see how this CEO's career ended in less than an hour. Marcus Webb was 45 years old and one of the most successful black entrepreneurs in America. He grew up in Detroit, the son of an auto worker who lost his job when the factories closed. Marcus watched his father struggle to find work, saw how people treated him differently because of his skin color. But Marcus was brilliant. He got a full scholarship to MIT, earned his engineering degree, and then his MBA from Harvard. At 28, he started a tech company in his garage. 20 years later, that company was worth $800 million. Marcus believed in giving opportunities to talented people, regardless of their background. 2 years ago, he bought a 51% stake in TechFlow Industries, a struggling engineering firm. But he did it quietly, through a private investment company. He wanted to see the company's real culture before revealing himself as the owner. The board of directors knew someone had bought majority control, but they didn't know who. Marcus told them he was sending a representative to observe operations. That representative was Marcus himself. Gerald Whitmore was 52 years old. He'd been CEO of TechFlow for 3 years. Gerald came from old money. His grandfather owned steel mills. He went to Yale, joined the right clubs, and got the CEO job through family connections, not merit. Gerald had a problem. He judged people by their appearance. If you wore a suit, drove a nice car, and looked like him, he treated you with respect. Everyone else, they were beneath him, especially people of color. Under Gerald's leadership, TechFlow had no black executives, no Hispanic managers. The few minorities who worked there were in low-level positions. When HR brought this up, Gerald said, "We hire based on merit, not diversity quotas." But the truth was different. Gerald rejected qualified minority candidates and promoted less qualified white employees. Several discrimination complaints had been filed, but Gerald's connections on the board protected him. Marcus had been planning this for months. He told Gerald's assistant that a contractor would be visiting to assess the building's electrical systems. Marcus dressed casually, jeans, a work shirt, carrying a tablet and some technical equipment. He wanted to see how Gerald treated someone he thought was just a worker, someone with no power, someone who was black. Marcus arrived at TechFlow headquarters at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday. The conference room was already full. Gerald and 6 vice presidents, all white men in expensive suits, discussing quarterly projections. Marcus knocked on the conference room door. Gerald's assistant opened it. "Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Whitmore. The contractor is here to check the electrical systems." Gerald looked up annoyed. "Can't this wait? We're in an important meeting." "The building manager said it was scheduled for today," Marcus said politely, stepping into view. Gerald's eyes swept over Marcus, black, dressed casually, carrying equipment. His expression changed from annoyed to dismissive. "Fine, make it quick," Gerald said, turning back to his papers without looking at Marcus again. Marcus walked in and began examining the outlets and panels, taking notes on his tablet. As he worked, he listened to the meeting. One of the vice presidents, Tom Bradford, was presenting hiring numbers. "We received 200 applications for the senior engineer position. I've narrowed it to 5 candidates, all excellent." "Any diversity candidates?" another VP asked. Gerald laughed. "We're not a charity, Mike. We hire the best, not to fill quotas. If the best candidate happens to be diverse, fine, but I'm not lowering our standards." Tom nodded. "All 5 finalists are from top schools: Stanford, MIT, Caltech." Marcus noted that Tom didn't mention that 3 of the rejected candidates were minorities from those same schools, with better qualifications than 2 of the finalists. Marcus finished his electrical inspection. He walked toward the conference table. "Excuse me, Mr. Whitmore, I need to check the connection under the table." Gerald waved him away without looking. Whatever. Just don't interrupt. Marcus knelt to examine the outlets. As he worked, he accidentally bumped the table slightly. Gerald slammed his hand down. Careful, do you know how much this table costs? Probably more than you make in a year. The room went quiet. A few VPs looked uncomfortable, but no one said anything. My apologies, sir, Marcus said calmly. He stood up and extended his hand. By the way, I'm Marcus. It's good to meet the leadership team. Gerald looked at Marcus's outstretched hand like it was diseased. I don't shake hands with contractors, he said coldly. You're here to do a job, not socialize. Now if you're done, please leave. We have actual business to discuss. Marcus withdrew his hand slowly. He looked around the room. Every VP looked away. No one defended him. No one said that was inappropriate. I understand, Marcus said quietly. I'll finish up. But he didn't leave. He took out his phone and made a call. What are you doing? Gerald snapped. No personal calls during business hours. This is business, Marcus said. He spoke into the phone. Sarah, this is Marcus Webb. I'm at Tech Flow. I need you to convene an emergency board meeting. Immediately. Tell them the majority shareholder is invoking his authority under Section 12 of the corporate charter. Gerald's face wrinkled in confusion. What are you talking about? Who's Marcus Webb? Marcus ended the call and looked directly at Gerald. I'm Marcus Webb. I own 51% of this company. I've owned it for 2 years. And I've been watching you, Gerald. The conference room went dead silent. Gerald's face turned from confused to white to red. That's impossible, Gerald stammered. The board would have told me. The board knows someone bought majority control, Marcus said. They just didn't know who. I wanted to see the real culture here before revealing myself. Today I came as a contractor to see how you treat someone you thought had no power. He looked around at the VPs. Every one of you watched your CEO disrespect me, refused to shake my hand, make assumptions based on my appearance, and not one of you spoke up. Tom Bradford tried to salvage the situation. Mr. Webb, if we had known... That's the problem, Marcus cut him off. You'd treat me with respect if you knew I owned the company, but you thought I was just a contractor, so respect didn't matter. That tells me everything about the culture Gerald has created here. Within 20 minutes, 5 board members arrived. They were shocked to finally meet Marcus Webb. He'd communicated through lawyers and investment advisors for 2 years. Marcus didn't waste time. Gentlemen, I've been conducting undercover assessments of TechFlow's culture. Today confirmed my worst suspicions. He pulled out his tablet and displayed data. In the 3 years under Gerald Whitmore's leadership, 0 black executives hired or promoted, 17 discrimination complaints filed, all dismissed, turnover among minority employees. 78%, 3 pending lawsuits for discriminatory hiring practices, company revenue down 23%. He looked at Gerald. And just 30 minutes ago, Gerald refused to shake my hand because he thought I was a contractor. He said, and I quote, I don't shake hands with contractors. A board member, Robert Chen, spoke up. Is this true, Gerald? Gerald's mouth opened and closed. I didn't know who he was. If I had known... Exactly, Marcus said. If you'd known I owned the company, you'd have treated me with respect. But because you thought I was a black contractor with no power, respect wasn't necessary. That's not a leader. That's a bigot, Marcus continued. I've been documenting everything for 2 years. I have recordings of executive meetings where minority candidates were rejected with coded language, not a cultural fit, lacking leadership presence, wouldn't mesh with the team. I have emails from Gerald instructing HR to screen more carefully after a black candidate reached the final round. I have testimony from 12 former employees who quit due to hostile work environment. And I have today a CEO who couldn't even treat a stranger with basic human dignity. Gerald tried one more defense. This is a setup. You entrapped me. I gave you a chance to show character, Marcus replied. When you think no one important is watching, that's when your real values show. You failed spectacularly. Marcus looked at the board. I'm exercising my authority as majority shareholder. Effective immediately, Gerald Whitmore is terminated as CEO for cause. No severance. No golden parachute, just removal. Robert Chen nodded. As chairman of the board, I second this action. All in favor. Every board member raised their hand, even the ones who were Gerald's friends. The evidence was too overwhelming, the liability too great. Marcus continued. Tom Bradford, you watched Gerald disrespect me and said nothing. You're also terminated. Mike Stevens, same for you? He pointed to a younger VP named Lisa Martinez, one of the few women in leadership. Lisa, you looked uncomfortable but stayed quiet. I'm giving you one chance. You're now interim COO. Prove you can lead with integrity and the job is permanent. Lisa nodded, tears in her eyes. Thank you, Mr. Webb. I won't let you down. Gerald stood up, his face red with anger and humiliation. This is discrimination. I'll sue. Sue me, Marcus said calmly. I have 2 years of documented evidence of your discrimination. I have witnesses. I have recordings. Please try to sue me. It'll be fun. Security escorted Gerald out of the building. His career was over. Marcus's first official act as revealed owner was to address the entire company. My name is Marcus Webb, and I own this company. For 2 years, I've been watching, learning, and documenting. What I found broke my heart. TechFlow has incredible talent, but a toxic culture at the top that drove good people away and kept others from even applying. That ends today. Here's what's changing. New leadership committed to merit and inclusion review of all hiring and promotion decisions from the past 3 years. Compensation adjustments for employees who were unfairly passed over anonymous reporting system for discrimination. Zero tolerance for bias of any kind. The employees erupted in applause. Many were crying. Several minority employees who'd felt invisible for years felt seen for the first time. One black employee, James, approached Marcus after. Mr. Webb, I applied for senior engineer 3 times. Each time they told me I wasn't qualified, but they promoted people with fewer credentials. Marcus pulled up James's file on his tablet. MIT graduate, 15 years experience, 6 patents. You're more than qualified. You're promoted to senior engineer effective immediately with back pay for the 2 years you should have had the position. James broke down crying. Thank you, you don't know what this means. I do know, Marcus said. Because I've experienced it too, that's why I'm here. Gerald's story spread quickly through the business community. The video of his handshake refusal from the conference room security camera went viral. Tech industry blogs wrote articles. CEO's racism costs him everything. Gerald tried to find another CEO position. No one would hire him. His reputation was destroyed. The 3 discrimination lawsuits moved forward without TechFlow's legal team protecting him. He had to settle for over $2 million from his personal assets. 6 months later, Gerald was working at his brother-in-law's insurance company in a mid-level position. His mansion was sold to pay legal fees. His country club membership was revoked. One reporter asked him if he regretted his actions. Gerald's response, I regret not knowing who he was. That quote made headlines. He still didn't understand. He wasn't sorry for being disrespectful. He was sorry for being disrespectful to someone powerful. Under Marcus's ownership and new leadership, TechFlow transformed completely. Within 6 months, leadership team was 40% diverse, employee satisfaction scores up 67%. 3 major contracts won, clients liked the new culture. Revenue increased 31%. Named one of best places to work for minorities in tech, Lisa Martinez, the new COO, told Business Weekly. Marcus showed us that diversity isn't just morally right, it's good business. We're finding talent we would have missed before. We're solving problems with fresh perspectives. We're actually thriving. Marcus promoted from within, giving opportunities to employees who'd been overlooked. James, the engineer who'd been rejected 3 times, became head of innovation. Within a year, his team filed 12 new patents. The company that Gerald ran into the ground was now soaring. Turns out, when you actually hire based on merit instead of bias, you get better results. Marcus gave a keynote speech at a tech conference a year later. He told the TechFlow story. I didn't expose Gerald to be vengeful, Marcus said. I exposed him because his behavior represented a systemic problem in corporate America. Too many leaders treat people based on perceived power, not inherent dignity. Gerald would have shaken my hand if he'd known I owned the company, but he thought I was just a contractor, so basic respect didn't apply. That mindset destroys companies and breaks people's spirits. The lesson isn't be nice because someone might be your boss. The lesson is be kind because everyone deserves respect, regardless of their position. He continued. When I dress up and walk into a business meeting, people treat me well. When I dress casually, some people treat me like I'm invisible or suspicious. The only thing that changed is my clothes. I'm the same person with the same credentials. That's what bias looks like. It's not always overt racism. Sometimes it's just assuming the black man in jeans can't possibly be the owner, assuming contractor means lesser, assuming you know someone's value by their appearance. The speech received a standing ovation and was viewed 10 million times online. The TechFlow story became a case study in business schools. Harvard Business Review wrote, "The cost of bias, how one CEO lost everything by judging on appearance." Marcus continued running TechFlow successfully. He also started a foundation to help minority entrepreneurs get funding and mentorship. Gerald Whitmore became a cautionary tale, a reminder that character matters more than connections, that respect is a baseline requirement, not a privilege for the powerful. The handshake Gerald refused ended his career. The respect he denied came back to haunt him. As Marcus says, treat the janitor the same way you treat the CEO. Because you never know, they might be the same person testing your character. And even if they're not, they still deserve your respect. If this story moved you or taught you something important, smash that like button and subscribe right now. We share real stories about justice, karma, and people getting exactly what they deserve. Drop a comment and tell us, have you ever been judged by your appearance? How did you handle it? Hit that notification bell so you never miss when arrogance meets its match. Thanks for watching, and remember, character is revealed by how you treat people who can't do anything for you. See you in the next story.